Hello, and Happy New Year, first of all, as I welcome you to Phoenix Cinema Podcast Film Club, where a community of film nerds just like myself gather to rate and review films of our choosing. Why? Because we love movies and we love talking about them with each other most of all. Joining me today is my co-host, Luke Parker. Luke, Happy New Year, buddy.
New Year. Thanks for having me back.
And our favourite manager, our favourite cinema venue manager, the manager of Phoenix Cinema, Zalan Pall. Happy New Year, Zalan.
Happy New Year. It's great to start the year with movies and talk about movies. So.
Yeah,
right.
Great to start the year with this particular movie as well, which was the movie that you picked, Zalan, and that is Il Postino, a.k.a. The Postman.
Michael Radford's Il Postino drops us onto a quiet Italian island in the 1950s, seen through the eyes of Mario Ruppolo, a shy postman desperate to avoid a life of fishing. The film moves beyond a simple romance to capture the quiet awakening of a lonely soul. We follow Mario, played with heartbreaking charm by Massimo Troisi, as he builds an unlikely friendship with the island's famous new resident, the exiled poet Pablo Neruda. Mario's world is simple and routine, until he asks Neruda to teach him about poetry so he can win the heart of the beautiful Beatrice. But as Mario learns to use words to express his feelings, he finds himself waking up to the world around him. He's forced to confront the reality that learning to speak his mind brings both the joy of love and the heavy price of political awareness. So, Il Postino from 1994, not to be confused with The Postman from 1997,
Definitely
which we've discussed before in detail. Maybe Zalan, do you want to kick us off with this one, seeing as you chose it?
I mean, I'll just, we had a few sort of hard-hitting films, which is, I think, great for content, by the way. So I think, I thought maybe would, because I had a couple of other, films in mind, but I was like, I need something maybe cozy and, heartwarming. And I remember this film, and I have a fondness to it, because sometimes, you just need to be reminded that, the beauty of simplicity and, just the power of love and friendship and, how do you create a magical story out of a very simple, background in a way. But then also there's some historic elements in it as well. And as you just sipping an Italian wine and you just think like, wow, this would be a nice film to to talk about. And also there's one thing that I'm sure we're gonna discuss is that I remembered is this soundtrack. There are films you just straight away when you hear the soundtrack and you just your heart warms, because that's something that you remember back fondly. And this was, for me, was very recognizable soundtrack that I sometimes listen to, and when you have some like periods when you want some nice cooking music, something sound, and then it's in my list of like movie scores that just comes up. Brilliant acting, and I just thought it'd be interested to see what you guys think, and just how we reflect on poetry in general, or just sometimes like a slice of life type that takes you into this period and era and this type of people, because we all come from different backgrounds. Some relate more to it, coming from like a small place, and maybe for someone who is kind of like into a fast-paced life and live in a city as well, it could be a refreshing thing to see something like that, or just this is not my pace or something. So it's it goes both ways, but especially that we had Philip Marais, so I thought it's a nice link to have an actor who had a really, really good film that we hope.
Yeah. What a lovely bed of comfort to fall into after American History X. Indeed.
Well, to be fair, you say this, and I almost feel like the film kind of lulls you into a false sense of security in being this really nice, twee, beautiful love story, this beautiful relationship that conjures up between the two main characters. But like, once we hit the end of the second act, actually, I think this film becomes quite desperately sad.
Yes,
and
it does. It does.
Takes a massive U-turn in kind of its tone, and it's quite heartbreaking, really. And I'm glad you mentioned the score already. I mean, that was inevitably going to come up quite quickly.
For sure, yeah.
Because, so Louis or Louis Bakalov?
I think maybe Luis even, because he's
Louis,
Argentinian,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so he won the Oscar for this score in 1995. Totally deserved, and yeah, I think, Zalan, you summed it up pretty perfectly.
He won everything for this score, yeah. BAFTA, Globe, and the Oscar, yeah. He did the sweep, which... Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So deserved. Did you listen to it, Luke? I sent you the album.
Yeah, so Chris sent me a message before I'd even watched the movie saying, bro, you got to listen to this album all the way through. And even from that message, I was like, okay, my expectations are pretty high. But even then, like, even just the opening credits and the theme that plays along with that, it's I actually think musically it's nothing particularly exceptional. It's as a piece of film music, it's so perfect at setting the scene and setting the tone of the film, and I think that's why it's so effective.
It's and it's just such a gorgeous score. I mean, track to track to track, it's wonderful, and it transports you. It transports you to Italy in this time period. I feel, it's wonderful. Like, for me to download it on my Spotify straight away after watching the film, I'm like, oh my god, I've got just to have discovered this through your recommendations, Zalan, was really lovely. Did you?
It's nice to see, because sometimes, like it's good when something, a piece of art that's deserving. Oscar is not the end or be all for anything, but that year was, that's the year of Forrest Gump and Lion King, so, that is some big scopes to, like, just say, okay, he was the best.
Really? Wow.
But that's the thing. It's one of those things that it's embedded in your brain in a way. Like, when I listen to that score, straight away the pictures of, like that fishing village comes up. So it's a nice combination. And I think what I liked about it as well, that you have the same motif, but there's a bit of variation to it, even though it sounds the same. But especially when you listen to the whole album, it's not like they're just using the same theme and just all over again.
No.
It's in a variation, and the way they're using the instruments, and the sound, the whole essence of the what they try to portray. It was just, it's a magical feat.
Yeah, it's so much. Yeah, it's incredible. Do you remember, Zalan, what your first time watching this movie, or where that was, and
yeah,
was like?
It was. It's kind of. It was during my teenage years, so it was a period when I was university, when I really got into watching films, because you're just surrounded with that age anyway. You kind of open up to the arts, and you have like cinema visits and stuff. So I had periods of times when I went berserk. What I mean is that, like, I really fixated on, let's say, like, I've done a Bergman 2 weeks, and I was like, we used to have like Blockbusters, and you could go there and rent the DVDs. So I went like, I want like 30 films, and so that's how I'm gonna do the next 2 weeks. And then you watch Bergman films, you have to fall into desperate, like, so not desperate, kind of depression in a way, because it's so sad. And when you do like 30 films, those are like hard hitting subjects in a way. And then I've done Italian films, and this was like, someone recommended it, and first of all, like, I thought, like, I want to watch the older Italian films, like the Fellinis and Antionis, and obviously I've done, but then this film came up as a suggestion, and about 94 recent one, let's give it a go. But straight away, it opens up, and you're thinking, okay, this is gonna be a journey, whatever it's it's gonna be a nice journey. And yeah, you're right, you're saying it, Luke, that there's more to it, and especially when you look into the historical, elements and the accuracy to it, because that it's a fictional story but based on real life events. So that Neruda's trip in Italy took place, and his whole exile and what was happening with the political parties at the time. So yeah, I was just the music and everything, and the acting. Once you hear about what happened to the actor as well, it was just a very moving film.
Excellent. Yeah. Luke, what was your first experience with this? Was this your first time watch, right?
This was my first watch, and I actually got confused last time when you mentioned it, because I got this mixed up with Il Posto, which is an earlier Italian film, which I have seen. But no, I hadn't seen this one before, and I absolutely adored it. It was quite refreshing, like you said, Zalan, after a series of pretty hard-hitting, heavy movies. Something that I thought was quite interesting, though, is that the director of the film isn't actually Italian, and I noticed that when I looked at the Letterboxd page, it's Michael Radford, which obviously isn't a very Italian name.
Yeah, English guy, right?
Yeah, English film director. But he does a very good job of, setting this Italian, kind of zeitgeist of Italy in the 1950s, and yeah, the real star and standout for the film was, I might be murdering this name as well.
Our lead?
The guy who plays Mario. Yeah, what's his name again?
Massimo. Massimo. I think that.
Massimo Troisi.
Yeah, I don't know.
He has this such anxious and nervous disposition about him, and these little ticks, and the way his eyes dart across the screen, and it's such a convincing performance. And for me, he really made the film. It's actually, I think, one of my favorite performances I've seen in a very long time. I think Noire as Neruda was good as well, and something I really appreciate about the film is, like I mentioned briefly before, is that it kind of subverts the expectation of where the story's going. We kind of reach this climax, between the relationship between Mario and Beatrice surprisingly quickly, I think.
Yeah.
And then the way the rest of the film plays out, like I said, is actually not how I think maybe lots of people would anticipate it to play out, with Neruda kind of going away, and then Mario kind of feeling this really strong sense of almost abandonment by his friend, and being forgotten about. It's really hard to watch, and then it's sad to kind of see his obsessiveness and how maybe that's affecting his outlook on life, and especially kind of his relationship with his wife and everything like that.
After the marriage, I was like, are we wrapping up? I had to check the time. I was like, 35 minutes left. Where could we possibly be going?
I think that it would never happen in an American film. They couldn't do this ending, because, as you say, look, it's too heartbreaking, and it's what I appreciate about some European films, that they don't worry about the explanation and stuff. It's like, I don't need to show a clip of 5 years, what family life. We just got to, them off, and it's, you can imagine the rest. It's like we basically shave off maybe 10 minutes of that in other filmmakers. Like, but how do we gonna transition and all that stuff? So which takes the pace and everything, away from it. So it certainly was different, but it's also, it's sad, but I appreciate the reality of it,
exactly.
You have this person who is well-known figure, and he's very gracious with his time and stuff, but you realize you can't expect the same level of maintain the friendship, because it's impossible, you know. So that is I think
But it's that small town, small village mentality. It's like
Yeah.
he gets this taste of something greater than everything he knows, and he becomes obsessed, and he attaches himself to it. But really, as harsh as it sounds, for Neruda, Mario's just this little tiny, not wouldn't say insignificant moment in his life, but amongst all these other thousands of people he'll meet in his lifetime. But whereas for Mario, this is probably one of, if not the most significant
The most
things
significant,
that's ever happened to him.
exactly,
Mm.
yeah. I mean, it makes that scene between them where Neruda's saying, "Hey, I'm going back to Chile. I'll leave my stuff here. Maybe you could
Hmm.
send it to me, at some point." And he says, "Yeah, or maybe I'll just come myself and bring it to you." And there's this really sad moment of you're never leaving this town,
Hmm.
that your
Yeah.
reality and like financially and where you're at in your life, you'll probably never leave. But that pause between them where Neruda smiles and says that would be wonderful, it will never happen. It's so much there. Yeah,
it's you
it's
say the nuances of the performance is incredible, because one of the most heart well at the time it was the most heartbreaking scene is when he opens up the letter that he's like
oh
very
Oh yeah.
excited. First time I received the letter, and then is this letter from Nerda, which is not even from him. It's a secretary, and it's a very like robotic and no emotions to it. And then you see the sadness of his voice, but he's still sticking up to defend him, because it's like, well,
yeah,
he's he doesn't have the time, but you could see while he's saying it that there is a sadness and disappointment in his
yes,
eyes, and
yeah,
it's it's
it's
it's beautifully.
it's an incredible scene. It's probably the most in terms of his performance, the most impactful scene of the film for me, because he's playing opposites and what he's doing as a performance. He's not playing to what he's feeling inside. That is just plain to see. So he's trying to cover it, but the emotion is there. It's so raw, it's so real that everything he's doing is making it harder for us emotionally. There's this lovely thing he does where he sort of puts the letter back and he glances out the window as he does it. And just that look out the window was, to me, the deflection of look away. He's tamping it down, he's pushing it down. And then the rationalizing of, what am I? Who am I? I'm nothing to, I was never a poet. I was never really a big, it's fun. And as he's trying to rationalize it, it's almost like he's trying to bite back tears. It's wonderful, 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 that moment. Yeah.
But even with the letter, like putting it back, he's fumbling, and it's you could so relate to when you have a feeling that you don't want to really show your true emotions because you're surrounded with people, so you
Yes.
like you're fighting within, but to for that to come across as an acting performance, and you see the layer of it, it's yeah, it's fantastic. And I mean, we know about the actor as well, that the sad thing that
I
yeah.
don't know. Tell me.
Well, yeah, so like if he died the day after the filming wrapped, so
What?
he was ill during the shooting, and
Heart condition or something like
he
that.
had a heart
Yeah.
condition, but he really wanted to finish the film, and it does happen. Like I'm hearing it like within the industry so many times when and there's a last thing, and you're not gonna like you make everything possible to to finish it. Kubrick died 3 days after completing Eyes Wide Shut, and it's just yeah, he was giving up everything. He's just like yeah, like I don't care about heart condition, because he was behind it, I think writing credits maybe as well, or like producing the film, so he
He
really
wrote, yeah.
he wanted this film to be, and then probably felt like, "Okay, well, I'm sick. I can't have someone else coming in, halfway through and stuff." So um, maybe that explains some of his looks as well, because he looks sick, because he was sick. Um,
Oh my word.
he's a fantastic performance, and it's the saddest thing that he got all these awards and stuff, nominations, posthumous, because
Posthumously,
yeah,
yeah.
didn't.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, it's yeah, here on Wikipedia, writer star Troisi was severely ill during filming, postponing heart surgery so it could be completed.
Yeah.
The day after principal photography ended, he suffered a fatal heart attack. So he put off a massive surgery to do the movie. Oh my god. I mean, he
It's
was
almost as if he
41.
sacrificed himself for this movie.
Sacrificed himself. Yeah, obviously maybe not knowing that really, but and for the end result to be something that's not just oh my god, it's a beautiful, incredible, uplifting,
But
and like you
also,
said, it's sad, but
yeah, it's sad, but also I think, I'm not. I can't put myself ever in that situation, but I understand the choice, because if your life is dedicated to art and in general, like you think, like you feel this is a big moment, or like film, or you think, I have to. It's like Sylvester Stallone. He was like, I have to play Rocky, and I don't care
mm-hmm.
if I'm gonna be on the street. I can't settle. Like I
Yeah, he
have.
could have sold the script. He could have sold it.
He didn't do it because it's like he has to, in order for it to work, he has to be him. And once you aware of it, then that becomes, and then nobody was thinking, you can't think that, oh, if something could happen. So it's very unfortunate that it's kind of,
I
what's
tell you
happened.
what, I mean, yeah, when you talk about legacy, I mean, we're now in the new year. I'm 37 this year. If I made a deal with the devil and said, "Okay, you're going to die at 41, but you'll have just made a classic. You're the lead of the movie." I'll probably take that deal right now. I'll shake your hand. I'll take that deal because that that is a hell of a thing to. I mean, you can only be so lucky in a way to leave something behind like that.
But
Okay, he
also,
died.
yeah,
He died at the age of 41. In when was it? In 94. You know, but 2025, 2026, I can sit there and watch his performance remains on screen. That is, yeah, for me, I think that's incredible. I
it's
didn't know that.
it's a
Wow.
different mindset as well. But I can imagine that when you're in that situation, health-wise, then kind of an art and something like filming could be an escapism. Like we knew about
Yeah, yeah.
Freddie Mercury when he knew that the diagnosis and stuff. He went insane. He was like, I want to just write as many songs as possible, and some of his incredible songs he wrote in the last during this. That happened a few times. So I guess but it adds to the film's legacy, and
Yes,
his
yes.
performance, and also like I don't know much about his other works, but I what I read, he was a very famous actor, and he was a comedic actor. So
Mm,
from him as well, it's a different role that you play, especially towards the end, as you say, he is a drama, So yeah, it's just fascinating, and yeah, he just portrayed about this sort of village everyman, who has eagerness towards a curiosity about things that you don't know, and towards arts and poetry, and um, new political ideas, or what, like that goes beyond maybe that small town thing, because
mm-hmm.
otherwise you can also see that is your life, and you can't really see past it really. So it's, yeah, there's a lot of layers to it.
It makes me think a lot of Chadwick Boseman,
Oh,
and
prime example, yeah.
yeah, his final performance in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I mean, there's that scene in it, right, where his character is talking to God. He gives a whole monologue where he rages at the man above, and and really has a go, and talking about what he's got of his life, and it hits you like a ton of bricks when you realize what Boseman himself must have been channeling in that moment. Yeah, it's That's just that's really blown my mind.
That's
That
even maybe one level higher up, because he didn't want anyone else to be
to
aware of,
know. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
how he changes dynamic or everything, and probably for people to talk to you as well. It's incredible. That performance was quite
Oh.
special.
Yeah.
I feel
Did you?
like
Yeah.
with
Go ahead,
Il
Luke.
Postino though, it's like the context of it, of the film, and what the film's trying to say. Like, it kind of makes the fact that he passed so soon after even more heartbreaking. Obviously, he didn't know he was going to pass away, but the fact we have this man who's opening his eyes to the beauty of the world and everything around him, and setting his sights beyond this small town. It's quite sad then that we have this actor then who just days after is lost to that world, I guess.
Yeah, and wins. He wins 2 Academy Awards, right? He wins. I mean, he wins an Oscar, does he not?
Well,
Or sorry,
he got nominated.
he got nominated. He got nominated, which
But huge.
I
of
mean,
course.
how would he ever have imagined? Yeah, talking about his character wanting to leave that small town, and now this, at the Academy Awards. Oh, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of parallels there, and the whole final 5 minutes of the movie makes you think about it in a whole other different light now.
Yeah. So the actual winner that year was Tom Hanks for Forrest Gump.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
And I mean, I haven't seen Forrest Gump for a while, but for me, as much as I think Forrest Gump was a good performance, I actually think this was better. Like I said, this is one of my favorite performances I've seen in a long time.
I agree with you, man. I agree with you. You know what I don't understand though? He's nominated in the year of Forrest Gump and all of that, and yet, Luis Bakalov, he wins the score the following Oscars for the same movie, 96, which is very strange. I don't know how that you could split. He didn't win in the same year that Massimo was nominated. That's a weird one. I know that there was like a difference in terms of when it was distributed and when it was released, but to be nominated and split across 2 separate awards ceremonies is strange.
I mean, sometimes you get like it depends on the years. I don't know how it works, but sometimes some films maybe miss the deadline for like the BAFTAs as well. It could happen.
And it makes him still eligible for the following ceremony? That's weird. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's what happened, but he was, Bakalov was.
Okay, I was wrong actually. So Massimo Troisi was actually nominated in 1996 as well.
Okay then. So there we go. So they were at the same ceremony. Fine.
So he actually lost even worse then. Even worse is that he lost against Nicolas Cage in Leaving Las Vegas.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it. Okay. But I'd like to. I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess the nomination itself is the win, isn't it? I mean, but yeah, I mean, so if we go through, we don't have to do much because it's an Italian movie. I'm not going to know who half these people are. But Bakalov, the composer, was nominated against James Horner for Apollo 13. Great score. Horner for 2 scores. Braveheart as well. Great score. John Williams for Nixon and Patrick Doyle for Sense and Sensibility. So these are heavy hitters he was up against, and he won, yeah, and deservedly so. Bakalov is very well known as a name to people if you know your early spaghetti westerns.
Yeah, I knew him from the original Django score, which I love, because they actually use a lot, well, not a lot, but they use a few themes from the original Django in Django Unchained.
Yeah. In fact, Tarantino has used Bakalov a few times in his movies. He used him in Django Unchained, and he used a few of his tracks from previous movies in Kill Bill.
Oh, okay.
It's a
So
huge, it's great score.
yeah,
As
that's
well.
where I knew of Bakalov, was through Tarantino's use of him. And actually, in Tarantino's podcast that he has now, the Video Archives podcast, it begins with a Luis Bakalov score. And the whole thing about how they start is, hello, welcome to Video Archives. I'm Quentin Tarantino. I'm Roger Avery. And kill the Bakalov. And then the music just stops. That's like their opening bit. So, yeah, well respected by Mr. Tarantino. I hadn't really listened to too much of his stuff, and I don't know too much of his stuff, but this has jumped to the top of the list for me. Yeah. Absolutely incredible. I loved it. And like we said, deserving of every award
Absolutely.
that he got. Um,
Yeah, he's done a lot of good Western films, so yeah, you're gonna get some. But once you dive into him, you're gonna get some really nice scores.
I can't wait. Yes, I can't wait.
I mean, I
To
don't know, like over 100 films, you know, like it's
so much.
yeah,
So much, yeah, which is great. There's a lot for me to check out. Yeah, I don't know much about the producers here, but on the cast, we've been speaking about Massimo Troisi. Final movie, excellent performance. You know, another thing, yeah, to what you were saying as well, Luke. There's this sensibility that he has, the way he carries himself in the movie, that maybe wouldn't work. It can so easily not work, but he's able to keep things just the right side of. He's a very simple man. You know, he doesn't mean to intrude or overstep. He just sees things way more simply
Yeah.
than the rest of us do, which means he's not afraid to maybe step over the line and cross a boundary, you know. But he does it in this really charming and endearing way, and he reminds me of some people I know. Like, he reminds me of a cousin of mine, for instance, where it's like, oh my God, you're such a simple person, but you have a heart of gold. You're such a
He's not
good
listening
heart.
to this.
He won't. He really did remind me of him, though. I just thought, oh, he's just such a good guy. And I love how, in terms of like the costume department and the makeup effects, how dirty he is throughout the movie.
You kind of feel sorry for him. He's like this like
Yeah.
golden retriever, like stray dog, and you just feel sorry for him, and you don't want to say no to it.
Yes, yeah, you don't. It's yeah, he's like a little dog you just want to take in and feed and look after. And yeah, he's constantly covered in dirt on his face, on his hands. His clothes are obviously really old, really quite decrepit. There's obviously a running theme in the movie that they just don't have water. Their water runs out very quickly, so they're having to really, really do their best with what they have, and it's just a normal part of life for them. And you know what I love about these kinds of films as well is I love looking at, where do they live? How do they live? How do they make meals? How do they make themselves drinks? How do they bathe? What's the routine of their lives? And it makes me so appreciative about what we have. We are pampered compared to how they have to live. But you know what? They're happy, man. You know, to an extent, they're quite happy, and they do it. They get on with things. And I thought, yeah, it's just a lovely time capsule. I love watching these foreign
That's
films.
just a testament to like how good the film is at setting. I guess just setting the scene. You know, the film's set just over 40 years before it was filmed, and I mean, I don't know how authentic it is. I don't know if this is exactly how they lived during this time, but it's totally believable that it would be.
Totally. Yeah, totally.
and you know that there's a historical background as well, which I liked how it's lurking in the background, but it's not, you know, overpowering the story. But we hear about, you know, because
Yeah.
you need to supplement. I think they did a good job to kind of explain why is it Neruda is a big name, and it's a huge deal for that town as well. You know, at the time, you know, it's a turbulent era politically as well. Like, there's a lot of things going around, and it just try to, you know, like, your political status defines you, who you are in society.
Sure.
And then have this combination of as you mentioned, this humility and innocence, and the eagerness, yearning to understand where you are in the, like the food chain, but you have
Yes.
kind of like eagerness to learn more, and take what you get in a very positive manner, filter
Yeah.
it yourself, rather than feel the detachment, try to build, and like have the friendship, and which I thought that was terrific.
I
Yeah.
found kind of like the political context of the film. It was kind of looming over the rest of the story for most of the film until it really takes precedence, like right at the end. But I mean, I don't know really anything or much at all about like modern Italian history. But to me, it was quite surprising that like there's like a pretty significant communist party in Italy, like so soon after World War II, and it was just quite interesting to learn about kind of the political tensions that are happening during the time.
Yeah, it took me by surprise actually how prominent it was, and how passionately these people
Yeah.
take their sides. Yeah, really, truly. I mean, Troisi gives an absolutely wonderful performance. Absolutely wonderful. And it's really funny too. He has a way of making you really, really laugh at him, alongside him, and then feel for him. It's what they say about comedians, right? They can portray pain so effectively, and he does that so well. And then we have Philippe Noiret, who is this guy is like low-key becoming one of my favorite actors, man. Honestly, I didn't realize how, I mean, already the only films I've seen of Noiret is Cinema Paradiso, The Old Gun, and this one, and they're all 5-star films for me.
Oh,
And it's like,
brilliant, yeah.
this guy, he hasn't missed yet. I mean, I'm sure he does because he had a long career, but BAFTA winner for Cinema Paradiso, which is also an Italian movie. So did this guy also, I mean, he seems like he speaks fluent Italian in this movie. He's French, but
Was he not dubbed?
Is he dubbed?
I don't think so, because I don't know, I haven't researched that, but I think certain like if you speak French, I don't think that is that difficult to get to Italian and Spanish.
Really?
So there are some languages kind of but what we hear, like there are some actors that sometimes I get surprised when British actors that they speak French, in a role, and
Yeah.
they actually do it, So, I'm pretty sure that if Timothy Chalamet would come out with a French speaking role, that
Probably.
it's gonna get, like, wow, we're speaking French, but it's for people who speak dual languages or three languages is normal, like it's
Yeah, I suppose. Although today I would accuse them of using AI to make that happen. Back then, back now, 94, we couldn't do such a thing. But I mean, he was also in Cinema Paradiso, right? Which is a
yeah.
big Italian movie. So I guess the guy really was multilingual.
Well, this is what a quick Google says, and I
Yes.
hope it doesn't muddy your opinion of
Okay.
Philippe in this film, but it says, in Il Postino, French actor Philippe Noiret, who played Pablo Neruda, was dubbed in Italian by voice actor Bruno Alessandro. As Noiret spoke French during filming, his Italian language dialogue was re-recorded for the final release.
That's fascinating to me, because then in that case, how are you able to get such great performances, like listen and response, line to line, from other actors when no one knows what the fuck the other person is saying?
I was super confused, because when I was watching it, I could tell that what he was saying didn't quite sync up perfectly with his mouth, but it didn't seem that different. So I was kind of... Maybe he just dubbed after, because maybe the audio was a bit shit or something like that, because that's what they used to do. But
so you've got, it's okay, so it's an Italian film with an Italian cast, with one of the main actors being French, and needing to be dubbed, and the director being English. So did the director understand Italian, or when he's on set and he's saying action cut, how does he know what is he? So did they all have different scripts in different languages? How do you?
Good questions.
That's honestly, wow.
Yeah, it's good to know. I didn't know about that. Yeah, I mean, I just assumed because he's French, he would speak. He could speak Italian as well. But I don't know. I mean, sometimes, I mean, in sentimental value, for instance, that you talk about, like there is they speaking Swedish and Norwegian, so I guess like it's one of the characters speaks in Swedish. So I don't know. It's a fascinating thing. Having an English director makes it intriguing. I assuming that they just had probably a translator with them, while they were shooting. But
seems like
very convincing. He was good in this film.
You couldn't. Yeah, I mean, no language problems in terms of the how it's all portrayed. Honestly, you don't sense anything. It's Noire, I think, is quite wonderful in this movie. I don't know if you both agree, but he plays his role really well. He seems like a man of importance. He carries himself as a man of importance. He knows his stature among people. And yet, like you said, Zalan, there's this openness to him. There's this, he's not so closed off that he's willing to open a door to this relationship with this postman, and where it leads and how he helps him and ends up being best man at his wedding, I think is all quite lovely. But what I find most interesting about his performance is when he comes back at the end. He hardly has any lines. We are just on his face. But there was a lot there that I saw as a bit of regret, a bit of guilt. And yes, okay, he's a very busy and important man, but I think he knows deep down that he kept him sidelined. He didn't reach out when he could have. He stayed away, and maybe he could have just done something as simple as send a telegram, send a letter personally, and that might not mean much to Neruda, but it would mean everything to what's his name, Mario.
Mario, yeah.
And so in his eyes you really sense that loss, that he's not there anymore.
Also the realization of the importance that he had in Mario's life.
Yes.
When you find out Pablito, named after. So when you hear the effect, and it's such an affection towards you that is so genuine that he just thinking like, oh wow, I'm meeting all these fancy, incredible people, and here we are in this. There's so much love, and as I say, like simple beauty, and that it's I think he liked the fact that it's sort of a romanticizing and like poetry, and in general, it's like definitely some sort of sadness towards it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you think there was an element of guilt he was feeling, or was it just regret and loss?
I do feel like I think it's definitely up to interpretation, but maybe the guilt was me projecting, but it did feel that way. Yeah, it did feel that way, I think, because if he didn't care about Mario, he would never have come back. He would never have come back.
He wanted to. I think it's more like, to me, the regret that he won't be able to talk to him, because he wanted coming back. Obviously, had a soft spot to Italy, going back to the same place and reaching out the same, like venue to go into, look after him, and he's so happy to see them, the picture,
yeah.
And
if you agree to be best man at someone's wedding, unless you have this major falling out, I don't know how you leave for 5 to 6 years without contact. I think that's,
if you're a busy man in terms of, a lot of political things, some of it, you have to remember that it wasn't just a fun vacation, like this
Yes, sure,
was an
sure.
exile. There was a
It was
lot of
enforced,
things to
yeah.
be pulled just to, like the route he's taking, and, like it was a turbulent time, like politically as well. So I think, like that loves, I'm not gonna make excuses for him, but, for the character in a way, but
Yeah.
I'm saying, like it's, but I think Mario acknowledges it throughout the film that, there's a certain way that, like he could, that's there's a limit to it, what you can get with this friendship as well.
Yeah, I mean, if Mario was still alive, I don't think he ever would have felt any guilt because Mario would never have allowed him to feel that. Mario would have just been so exuberantly happy that he was there. 6 years or more doesn't matter. Because I think Mario was he was a very simple man in that sense,
Yeah,
and
just the fact that he remembered him and didn't forget, that would have been enough for him, in
yeah,
this way.
So this was just where my mind went when we first learned that he passed away. Like, my mind straight away jumped to Mario committing suicide, but obviously later we then learned that he was killed in, was it
Political rally, yeah.
some political rally? Yeah.
yeah,
But like
Well,
we were
yeah, it is a very, like, it's known that there are that stuff like that could happen, like
Mhm.
a large crowded event.
But
yeah.
like it's like we're shown Mario being like highly obsessed and, well, not, maybe not obsessed, but this is like all he's really clinging on to, and we just see him again and again just being hurt and hurt. So when Beatrice says to Neruda that, he died after just after Pablito was born, to me my mind jumped straight to him committing suicide for some reason.
That's interesting. My mind didn't. My mind didn't. Yeah, I never got that sense, and maybe it was because of who I felt he was as a person. He could be hurt, but I feel like he wouldn't be driven to do that to that extent. It
Well,
to
because you keep saying a lot that, he's simple-minded, and I guess, yeah, he is, but the film does a good job of, as it goes on, I think portraying him as quite the opposite. Like, he's very, once he does kind of open his eyes to what Neruda is teaching him, he's very observational and
Curious, yeah, he's curious to learn.
Yeah.
I think he's
Yeah.
a bit different cloth from that village in a way. But now you bring me back to that scene, and maybe Chris, you're onto something that I haven't even considered yet, the guilt part, because it's a weird type of, like, it's because he was going to the political rally, right, and because he wrote a poem, so he was kind of, he could feel that, well, because of my actions, it's not in a negative way, but you guided this person towards poetry, which,
mm,
so that is a very, it's a hard one to take, because you done nothing wrong, you just actually, you brought joy to this person's life, but it's how you would feel if you give someone a
yeah,
swimming class and they end up, like drowning. It's like, well, it's not your fault,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
it's one of those situations. So,
Because Neruda is totally aware of the fact that he's, even though the attention was initially was to kind of, it was all to do with his infatuation for Beatrice, right? He wanted to open his eyes to the beauty of poetry and saying what's really inside of you, but inadvertently, by doing that, he's kind of opened Mario's eyes to everything else in the world, all the
That's
injustices, everything else that's going on.
Mhm.
So maybe he does feel a bit of guilt because he knows that he's kind of ignited, through their little relationship that they had 5 years ago, he ignited that kind of passion and that awareness that It's
eventually
bled.
led,
Yeah.
to where, exactly.
Hmm.
Well,
And listen,
it's it is fascinating because those things like the power. I think that the film like underlined it, like the power of word and art, and in, that has such a huge impact. Like it's not just because it's a small village, but that's we have this thing about idolizing people and what they say matters. I mean, like just look in our life, that's people, that's how advertisement works. Oh,
hmm
he's wearing it, he's drinking it, I'm buying it because that's
mm,
how we work. So, and then
mm,
you put that into bigger life situations, then of course you and then you have to carry yourself, and that your words and your actions impacting people, because people follow, and that what you say is important, then it guides this person into to that different like thinking as well, because of the film.
yeah. And don't get me wrong, I mean, when I say that he's very simple, I'm not putting him down. I think that there's a beauty
Sure.
in the
Hmm.
simplicity of his character. And yeah, he absolutely learns to look at the world in a different way through this relationship, this friendship with Neruda, and the relationship he, by getting his wife at the end of the day. I think it's I mean, we'll get to it. There's something I'll
But
mention it.
also, what to your point, what I liked about that even if you say like that there's like the background to the character, but he doesn't stay there. He does a growth throughout the film, like his eagerness and his confidence as well. Like he's a very shy person, and
Yeah.
in the end, even like it's like his voice is getting like he would go end up being in there in a big rally
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
performing like
The
that
poem. Yeah.
poem
Yeah.
for someone who was who didn't think that he should even be attempting, like the metaphor, the jokes about the metaphors
Oh,
are
fantastic.
just
And
fantastic.
and honestly, the funniest scene when he goes back to Neruda's place and says, "You need to help me because I've fallen in love." And the way Neruda keeps prodding to get the full story, and when Mario says, "I said 5 words to her." Okay? I said, "What's your name?" And then she said, "Beatrice Russo." Right. Okay. But you said 5 words. So what were the other two? Oh, I repeated her name. I said Beatrice Russo. It's so endearing. It's so lovely. It's just like a child. It's yeah. They're the way they work together. Their relationship on screen is fantastic. I don't think there's much point going into too much of the cast. I think the cast is it's a lovely ensemble cast. There's a lot
Mm.
of people I don't know, but I guess the only other prominent cast member would be the woman who plays Beatrice, Maria Grazia Cucinotta, Italian actress. Gosh, she's gorgeous. Oh, she's well done, Mario. Well done. I didn't realize that she was in The Sopranos. She was in that. I don't know if you've seen The Sopranos, but in season one, the very last episode, yeah, Tony Soprano is ill with the flu and he's hallucinating this beautiful Italian woman from the motherland, from the home country, being his neighbor, and it's her. I only just realized that now. She was in a Bond film, The World Is Not Enough, playing Cigar Girl. So not quite a Bond girl, but you could say she was a Bond girl. She ended up in a Bond movie. She worked. I mean, she has continued to work. She's still acting today in Italian projects. She was in a horror movie, I think, The Right in 2011 with Anthony Hopkins. She appeared in that, so she did well, and yeah, I think she's quite great. She's gorgeous, but she's got this brittleness to her when you first meet her. She's almost hardened because you can only imagine how she's being treated by every single man who lays his eyes on her. So she's got walls up. And I
Hmm.
think that is obvious from the beginning. And then the way he in particular is able to break those walls down is believable to me. I think it's actually a really really lovely relationship that they have, and it seems like she gets more and more concerned with his adoration for Neruda as the film goes on, and it's coming from a very protective place.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? She didn't have the attachment to Neruda that he did, and so I think she gets quite worried about his state of mind, and as brittle as her, is it her godmother or her grandmother or aunt?
Aunt, yeah, I think it's her
You
aunt.
know,
Yeah.
who keeps saying, you know, the bird eats and then flies away. You know, so, I think it's listen, it's a there's a lot there. It just makes me think of, listen, it makes me think about my own life. When I get upset with people, or when I have disagreements with people, I tend to dead them. You know, I tend to, that's the end of our relationship, friendship, and I move on. And that is with family, that's with friends, you know. And you know, years go by and then you look back and you go, well, was it worth it? I mean, that's the end of a whole relationship there. I don't know, but I did really feel that, and even if Neruda didn't mean to do what he did it anyway, you know, and that sense of regret, I think, is really, I really felt that. Um,
But I guess what we're saying though is that, was it an intentional cut off? Because like I said before, it's like Mario's barely even a footnote in the probably barely even a footnote in the story of Pablo and Neruda, but the other way around is completely different.
It's a tough one. It's a really tough one, because I think it's not intentional, and it is. I think there's genuinely a bit of both in there, but without meaning any sort of fuck
Yeah.
you harm. No, none of that. It's just life. That's just life, right? Yeah.
And it's the thing is, with someone who's, you know, meeting so many people, you know, like I can imagine, you know, imagine you're an actor and, you know, you had a scene with someone, and that for that person that was the greatest moment in your life, and that Hollywood actor, like, oh, we were in the same movie, you know what I mean? You don't mean
Right.
to belittle the other person, but you just genuinely, you don't remember because
Exactly.
you've done so many things in a way.
I remember actually there being a Graham Norton show episode, and you had Samuel L. Jackson on the couch with Stephen Merchant, you know, British actor, comedian Stephen Merchant. And at one point in the show, Graham Norton says, "Oh, Stephen, you actually directed Samuel L. Jackson once, didn't you?" And Samuel L. Jackson turns and gives Stephen, and Stephen's like, "Yeah, I did, yeah." And you know, Samuel L. Jackson, he's very famous.
Oh, was that
he's very
extras?
Yes.
Yes, it was.
He's very cocky, you know, so he doesn't say anything. He just gives Graham this shocked look, gives Stephen this shocked look, looks at the audience. And in a way, when you think about it, that's very rude, right? It's like, to Stephen, that was probably a very big deal. And yet, from Samuel L. Jackson's point of view, look at who he's worked with. Look at the jobs that are important to him and the jobs where he's just like, okay, fine, whatever, you know. And it's like, where did extras fall for him down the line? But it feels right in terms of both their levels of experience and what their lives are.
It's realistic because, you know, like I wouldn't have. I mean, you don't want to see like a sad ending, but also, you know, like there's a moment when you realize that it's kind of like it's expected, you know, like I don't want him to come back and then, oh, he's the guy who remembers and brings them a gift, because that wouldn't be reality, you know. That's
Right.
just not, you know, like how would it play out in life. So I appreciate the film don't try to Neruda act differently, you know, like a saint in a way, but he is an important figure in here. But it's just, I think, just portrayed how it would happen in real life, so it's just quite realistic.
Which I really appreciate. Yeah, I really appreciate that. This film was co-written by a few people, a lot of Italian writers, including the lead actor Massimo, and then Michael Radford as well. who was also the director. And I'll be honest, never seen anything else that Radford did. He directed the film version of The Merchant of Venice with Al Pacino and Ray Fiennes and Jeremy Irons and Charlie Cox. I mean, that's big. I remember, I think Pacino did that on stage, and then they adapted that into a film. So he did that, and I would love to see it. He's made some films with some big actors. A film called Flawless with Michael Caine and Demi Moore. He did
John Hurt's
1984.
1984.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
John Hurt and Richard Burton. Have you seen that, Zalan?
I don't think so. I'm just trying to think about the Merchant of Venice. I think I might have seen that one, but
Okay.
but
Yeah,
it
his
wasn't really. I don't think it's that film that the fact that if I'm not sure if I've seen it, it probably means it's.
then yeah, maybe
But
not.
I don't think it was a bad film. But yeah, I don't think I've seen much of that.
Yeah, the last film he did was The Music of Silence, which is apparently the life story of Andrea Bocelli, and starring a bunch of actors that I've never seen before, except for Antonio Banderas is in the movie as well, and that came out in 2017, and nothing since. But yeah, I think that he directs the movie, and it's wonderful. His directing, it really is so lovely in this film. And my favorite shot of the entire movie is right at the very end, when Neruda's alone on the beach in his thoughts, and then we do the wide shot, and you just see this vast ocean and this island with this huge cliff, and Neruda is a very, very tiny speck on this island. And I thought that was really incredible, really speaking to, for me, I got the sense that it was speaking to Neruda can leave this place all he wants. He can leave for 6 years, 16 years. He could leave for the rest of his life, but this island will always be here. This island will outlive us all, and it's lovely when you speak about just the sense of place, where Mario is from, where these people are from, what their life is. This is everything to them. And at the end of the day, it will always be bigger than the individuals that populate it. It will always have its own bigger, grander story to tell. I thought that was a lovely final shot. I really loved that.
I like the leading up to it as well, like that montage of Mario,
incredible
sounds, and like what it's a sense of that place, and that's probably when he hears that Neruda, that's when he realizes, oh yeah, we still here, or it would have been a bit different in a way, but
yeah,
that's the fact that he came back, obviously, that he's really fondness of the place and the people as well. I think I like to see films about locations that maybe I've never been, and just these type of films usually work well with me, because I'm eager to learn something different, and just when the film really portrays it, that you part of it, in terms of you're just you get a slice of what is the life of and then that's why I'm like you, Chris. I love eating scenes in movies, like in The Sopranos there's loads, like I just
yeah,
it's just more I believe, like you sometimes it's an actor, but I believe it more when you just like I don't know, like there's the breadcrumbs on here, because it's you are not just acting, but you are in the moment as well,
yeah, and it's why I love, for instance, what you were saying as well, Zalan. This is so representative of life and how naturally things play out. I mean, when they're reading the paper, and he's given an interview, Neruda, and he's talking about the place, he's talking about us, and he just says, yeah, I really like my time there. People are very simple. and the food is all right, and the nature was quite nice. Yeah, and I love how Mario's like,
go on.
You can see in his face, okay, that's it. Go on. Yeah. And then that's it. But then to me, I did think to myself, that he could have been misquoted. There could have been so much more he said, but they've cut that because it's just not useful. Or this is going into an article on a paper. There's finite, space. There's probably a word count limit. That doesn't mean much. And so again, you don't feel anything negative towards Neruda the whole time. It's very easy for you to understand.
Yeah, but
Really,
also it doesn't put him on a pedestal, so that's why I like. He's portrayed a realistic way, not sensationalizing, like his aura and stuff as well. That, oh, he's this super nice guy who's done so much for, like this movie. It's just a
true.
very beautifully, like told, very simple story, but there are layers to it, and yeah, it's just so many things because it's about the friendship and the loyalty, but also the simple humility and innocence of this man, and yeah, I think it's combined with the fact that we got an incredible lead performance and music. It's a nice mix.
Yeah, and I think there's something of a lesson in the end for Neruda. I think maybe there was something to him of, oh, thank God I'm out of that tiny little town, that tiny little village with the tiny little mindsets and mentalities. Yeah, they're nice, but Jesus, thank God for that. I'm home, and now I get to have this whole. And then when he listens back to what Mario's recorded for him, well, this is the sound of our ocean. These are our small waves. These are big waves. This is the wind off of the cliffs. It brings him down to this place is I overlooked the true beauty of this place. There is beauty to be
Also,
found
the
here. Yeah.
realization of how much obviously home matters to him, because they not wait around like letter comes and we start packing,
They're
right?
gone.
So
Yeah.
it's not like, well, let's wait for the weekend before. Yeah, no, we go. But it's also because he has this, not just like it obviously his homeland, his strong feelings towards his country, but obviously the job he has to do there, and his importance to that country. But I think he realizes that, well, the way I feel about my country, how important it is for like this community, and yeah, there are the other ways to define beauty, or like happiness in life, and
Hmm.
it's not just about winning a award.
Right.
It's just having a nice meal and beautiful tomatoes, and like it's you could enjoy the
Mm.
life as well.
Oh, the way he describes those tomatoes is wonderful with the green entrails. I love that green entrails. Yeah.
I
Did
think
you? Sorry, go ahead.
so I think with the ending as well, there's kind of an element of maybe him coming to understand and fully appreciate like his own influence and almost this power that he has over people, because we see throughout the film that obviously he's revered and he gets these mountains and mountains of letters from people who adore him and his work and what he stands for, but they're just letters, and there's an element of it that's kind of disposable, whereas maybe here with Mario it's kind of like maybe might be one of the first times where he's really seen at an individual level like how powerful his influence is and his words are and his teachings are and the effect that he can have on people, I guess.
Yeah, that's really true.
Well,
Absolutely.
they even have, like a great moment, like when he's even asking for a metaphor for something, he's asking Mario.
Yes, that's right.
And you're
The
right,
fishing nets. Yeah.
nets. So it's nice in a way that, that the way the relationship, evolved. And also, as you say, look like there's an element of people adore him, the idea of him, but they don't really know the man, right? So
No,
They
they
don't know him. Yeah.
have this small connection to to that person, and yeah, that is interesting. You like to look at how much gift is in there in the end, but there's a level of sadness that probably evokes more emotions.
Mm. I mean, and to be honest, Luke, that interpretation really makes a lot of sense for his final expression, which is he's smiling a bit. He's smiling slightly.
I get
And
it. I get, yeah, it's like,
yeah, and
yeah,
I'd like to think that there's something of a pride, of an acknowledgement, of an appreciation of the impact that he's had on this person. It doesn't have to. What I like about his smile is that it doesn't necessarily. He doesn't have to break down in tears and start sobbing on the beach. No, there's something positive to be taken from this whole thing. Yeah, that's quite nice.
Yeah.
Luke, did you watch Train Dreams?
I
Not
haven't
yet.
yet.
Okay.
No.
Did you watch it, Train Dreams, Zalan?
yeah, it's in my top 10 of the year.
Okay.
Well, it's a slow burning film.
Yeah,
Fast-
that's you. Yeah.
It's very Terrence Malickian. Like it's not Terrence Malick's filmography.
Mm. Yeah.
Like this is Terrence. It's a Terrence Malick film directed by someone else, but
Right. I mean, I only watched it the other day, and there was something in that final montage of him noticing every element of his environment around him and being appreciative of it that really took me to Train Dreams as well. I kind of got that vibe from both of these movies, and listen, it helps to reorient myself a bit. It helps me to sort of be like, just stay grounded, keep your feet on the ground, look at where you are, look at who you have in your life, look at what you have, and really appreciate it. Appreciate a sunset, appreciate being warm when you're in front of the TV and you've got the heating on and you're watching something good or having a nice meal. It's I really appreciate films that get me to rethink in a positive way, so yeah. Anyway, final thoughts on Il Postino. Zalan, what a pick, man. Thank you, because I'm so pleased I saw this film finally.
yeah, it's something. Yeah, I just wanted something heartwarming, like it warms your heart, and it's yeah. I had fondness to it, and I was curious revisiting, how I'm gonna look back, 20 odd years later. But I just, yeah, once you hear the music coming, it's like, this is, it's gonna be you just wanna be in that, like space and appreciate,
Mm.
especially being in. I've been, fortunate enough to visited Italy a few times, and like I just always just loved, the scenery and a lot of things that comes with it, and I could see myself, enjoying a time like that over there.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I will be listening to this score for the rest of my life from this point forward. It's just going to be part of my rotation.
I don't
now,
doubt that.
Excellent. Luke, any final thoughts on this one, sir?
Yeah, just that I really, really loved it, and I like how it kind of has this illusion of being a simple film,
Right.
simple like its characters, but really, I think as we've just proven with the conversation, like there's actually quite a lot of food for thought,
deeper.
and it's really quite deep.
It's deeper than that. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Wonderful. Okay, so what a way to start the year. I love it. Shall we do ratings? I will go first. It's clearly a 5, man.
You've already spoiled it. You've already spoiled it. Yeah.
It's a 5 for me. Of course, we're doing this out of 5. Luke?
I think it's probably a 4.5.
interesting.
I am deliberating between a 4.5
May
or
I ask
5,
why?
so maybe I have to come back to it. I think maybe there was just an element of the ending and how everything kind of wrapped up that maybe I found a little bit unsatisfying.
Gotcha.
But maybe I just need to think about it a bit more.
Okay. Well, you have until tomorrow, and then.
Okay.
Zalan.
So I actually am gonna have the same score as Luke, a 4.5, which is in my metric really 9 out of 10, 90 out of 100, which I think sounds better. like close.
It does sound better.
Yes, 9 out of 10. This is touching the
Yeah, touching
So,
greatness.
but it's also because I don't like I save the 5 star to very special. Like as I told you guys, I only have I think I got 2 films rated 5 star for last year. So it's not because it's a bad year. It's just I savor those.
You save it, yeah.
But I mean, this is a fantastic rewatch anytime, and
I thought it was a 5 because you picked it. I thought it was.
Like maybe I should go 4.75.
Maybe you should, because that's more your
closer.
pick.
Yeah, that is. Actually,
Yeah.
If you're doing the more, decimals, I think that's.
I'm gonna put 4.75.
Which
It's
would
got
give
to be done.
the average of the 3 of us a 4.75 anyway.
Yeah.
So
Excellent.
middle, yeah.
That's good. I'm more than happy with that. That's great. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna buy this on Blu-ray. I hope Criterion have done a release, because I think the special features in particular of this, I want to see. I want to hear about Massimo. I want to hear about the director, how it was made,
Just
all
be
of that.
careful with that, because that's one of my biggest, well, not problems, but the reality with those releases is that not all of them have actual UK availability. So there are some
Yeah.
releases that's only US region and stuff.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I have
that
to
is-
check those regions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those like you're waiting for certain films to just come out, be available.
Yeah. Well, I'll see. I've put it in my Amazon basket. It's not a Criterion movie, but it is the Blu-ray.
Yeah, it doesn't look like don't think Criterion have done a release of
that's
this.
crazy. Well, they will then. Surely they will. They've got to.
If you start a petition, they must have a list of people.
Yeah,
saying,
right.
like,
Yeah. Yeah. They'll have 3 more, or at least 3 to start even, who knows, for this one. Excellent. All right. Well, next movie has been chosen
nice.
by Larry Taylor. He's throwing one into the ring for us. He says this movie is probably his favorite movie, and I'm going to ask you to guess what it is. And this is for you, Zalan, because this movie won the Oscar for Best Picture in 1979. Without looking it up,
79.
what do you?
Deer Hunter or Kramer versus Kramer?
Oh my God! Ding, 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 ding! You got it first time. It's the Deer Hunter.
Nice.
Yes.
This guy.
Okay.
How do you do that? Just gave him the year. Oh my word! Yeah, well done.
It's like that's there's a lot to talk about that film. So that's a good pick.
Luke, did you recently say you'd watched it, or that you want to rewatch it?
No. Yeah, I think I did. We definitely mentioned it in another
Yeah.
podcast. I think I was probably raving about it. So.
Did you watch it recently?
Oh, I remember. I was talking specifically about the scenes in Vietnam, because we were talking about just standout performances to us, I think.
Yes. Oh yeah. Something. Yeah, I can't remember what it was. Yeah.
Russian roulette scene or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. I am very excited because I haven't seen it in a very long time, and I didn't think much of it when I did see it, but I was very young. So I think it's perfect. It's perfect time for a rewatch. So fine, we'll talk. We'll figure out when we're going to do that. Thank you all. Thank you both for joining me today. Zalan, great pick.
Thank you.
It's
Awesome
good to
pick.
start the year off with something like heartwarming.
Yeah, because we're about to go into harrowing straight away again. But excellent. All right. Thank you all for joining me today, and those who are listening. I hope to see you on the next one, which will be The Deer Hunter. Do please watch along with us. And until then, this is the Phoenix Cinema Podcast Film Club, and we hope you enjoyed listening. Happy watching, and bye for now.